Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, we're episode 296 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's playing a first-person shooter with me tonight?
I am Joe Butler, and you'll never guess what kind of ghost powers I have.
My name's M, and this is definitely one of the games of all time.
That's a fair statement.
This is Ron Frazier, and I also played a game.
And thank you, and welcome back, both of you. I mean, you guys joined me for F.E.A.R. 1 and F.E.A.R. 2. 2 years ago, we did F.E.A.R. 2, or F.E.A.R. 1. Last year, we did F.E.A.R. 2. So to wrap it up, we are here to talk about F.E.A.R. 3, or 3. I don't know how you would say that with a 3 in the title.
F.E.A.R.
The 3-year.
F.E.A.R.
Developed by Day One Studio, published by Warner Brothers, and came out in 2011.
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot more sense then. Okay.
Yes. And Joe, you're joining us for the last part of our F.E.A.R. trilogies run that we've been doing. So welcome.
Hello.
So I never played F.E.A.R. 3 before. I remember it came out. I remember people bitching about it. I bought it on 360 and said, I'll get to it someday. And then I never got to it until last week when I played it on Steam. Ron, what is your history with this game?
I don't think I remember hearing anything about F.E.A.R. I know I heard a lot about the first F.E.A.R. and watched a lot of YouTube videos about that game, and a few people talked about the second game, and I don't think any one of those people talk about the third one. So this is my first experience with it, well, except last year when you admitted there was a third one.
Yes. And M.
Yeah, I'd never played it before because, 2011, I would have still been in high school and still hadn't had internet. So I would have seen like the online multiplayer campaign focus and been like, oh, I'm not going to play that. And I never did. And then I heard some people talk about F.E.A.R. and decided I didn't need to rush to find out what it was like.
No. Okay. And that's all completely fair. And Joe?
I have heard multitudes of F.E.A.R. and F.E.A.R. 3-year. My husband's a huge fan of the series, but I have never once played them because I didn't have a 360 growing up. So he got to be cool and play this and play Condemned and play Bioshock. Meanwhile, my ass was stuck at home with the PS2, so...
I mean, so for those that don't know, this is a first-person shooter, the last game in the series that we have ever gotten and probably ever will get at this point. But so the story is convoluted as shit. You play as the guy you played as in the first game, Point Man, but also because this is 2011, we gotta have multiplayer and we gotta have co-op and we gotta make it like we gotta make Call of Duty is what this game feels like. This game feels like someone saw Call of Duty and said, hey, that game makes a lot of money. We own a first-person shooter franchise. Why don't we make a Call of Duty? That's the problem.
Yeah, this is the beginning of the end of like horror games slowly becoming action-oriented. Yeah. Because you have this, and then eventually Dead Space becomes that, where it also becomes a multiplayer action shooter. Resident Evil 5 also becomes a action multiplayer shooter. And just all kinds of just goofy shit where people are like, hey, we like money. And it's like, you ain't like money enough to realize it was a bad idea.
That is completely fair. Because it's missing part of the F.E.A.R. secret sauce. It's missing the horror elements where this game had some horror elements, but it was missing like the tension that F.E.A.R. 1 and F.E.A.R. 2 have so much of.
It also only has like 3 enemy types.
Yeah, it's missing that too.
Yeah, you've got the small mechs, the big mechs, the military grunts, and then the crazies.
Oh, you also have the electric guys.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Fucking hate those, but yeah.
Thinking about it, F.E.A.R. is certainly missing flying mechs. The first 2 games had flying enemies.
I mean, this game had helicopters at like one particular point of the game. Does that count?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's that segment.
That segment made me want to uninstall the game, but yes. So
this game gets rough.
It feels like when I play this in the easiest difficulty possible, because I always do, which is just easy. And at first I'm like, this game is boring. It's just too simple, and I'm just blowing through it. And then I got about midway through the game, went, you think this game's easy, huh? And just cracked its knuckles, and then the difficulty ranked up or cranked up, whatever word that works there. and it wasn't the same. I mean, I started to actually enjoy it more when it got harder because then I actually had to try. And like this thing does this one does a few things differently that I think hurt it. One, it takes away the health packs that F.E.A.R. 1 and F.E.A.R. 2 has, and it goes with the regenerated health, like Call of Duty, which I do like, but it felt weird in my F.E.A.R. game.
Yeah, combat felt like a lot less rocket taggy than it used to.
Yeah.
So using your slow-mo didn't necessarily seem as important, it felt like. But then,
That's
yeah,
fair.
also, it just took away all the stakes.
I sometimes forgot I had slow-mo. I'm not gonna lie to you guys.
I used it a lot, but it's not as necessary as it felt like in F.E.A.R. 1 and F.E.A.R. 2 by not having the health packs, by not being able to save whenever you want. There were just little things that didn't feel right to capture what F.E.A.R. was to me. There was just something about this game that just felt off. Like, I think F.E.A.R. 1 and F.E.A.R. 2 both had a very interesting story, and they feel like a single player story driven shooter first, where this feels like a multiplayer co-op shooter. It just period. Like it doesn't feel like this is a single player game.
Well,
Yeah.
the game gives you a score, so I think they're trying to drive home the replayability and switching characters.
So
That took me out of it a little bit. When I first picked up a dead body, like I was like, you get 1,500 points. I'm like, this is taking me out of the game.
So
Psychic link established.
Yes.
But before we dig a little bit deeper, because there's a reason why I very specifically want to come on this version of it, and I keep forgetting to let Mike know, because I have a loving husband in the room right next to me who also loves survival horror video games. And I went, hey, babe, Mike wants to play F.E.A.R. 3 for the podcast. Do you want to run a multiplayer? And he's like, yeah. And the game was like $2 on Steam, so I bought it for both of us. Could not get multiplayer going, like at all. And I Googled it, and they're like, yeah, the only way to play multiplayer on F.E.A.R. 3 is to like legitimately either spend forever trying to figure it out or to just legitimately pirate the game, because if you pirate the game, you won't get kicked off the servers.
What the fuck?
Yeah, so good job,
So,
WB. You ain't worth the fuck
it's
today, and
not-
you ain't worth the fuck now.
It's not that the servers
Yeah.
aren't there, it's that they're closed. Like they're still running, but they have security walls up.
What the fuck? Don't they normally just shut down servers when they close down a game like this?
Oh, it's WB.
Yeah. But that's just... I mean, I know you can still do it on console, I think, from what I was looking online. So you can still do split screen.
Yeah, from what I saw too, because like Xbox uses like I guess generic like multiplayer servers, it's just playing a multiplayer game, so it works on consoles.
That's just weird. I felt bad when that happened too, because I know you wanted to play this and then it didn't work for that.
Yeah, I love playing a game where I'm the shooter and my husband's a ghost man who constantly make tongue flicking noises at me. Yeah, it's great. I love it so much. It's the best thing ever.
Did anybody try playing as the other character?
I
tried after finishing the game. I tried reloading a level, and it wouldn't let me change the character. Or I was dumb enough to not figure out how to change a character, and I just gave up. Looked it up on YouTube, and I was like, "Okay, it looks like you're just a ghost man, and you just control people and shoot people."
I think this is the thing where playing as Fettel, you could only do if you were in a multiplayer server.
What the fuck?
Because he doesn't have standard combat abilities. He has only support abilities.
No, he possesses people.
Okay.
Yeah, but the enemies are still able to shoot you in ghost form. I guess I don't really know, because that's basically how it was for the first like 10 minutes. Me and my husband had it going for is like you would walk up to the door, and then my husband would possess a guy, and he would open the door for me, and then I would walk over and open the door for him because apparently it has magical ghost blocking powers, and then you would fight enemies together. And so I think as the ghost character, you're able to stun. You couldn't kill.
What the fuck?
So that's how it worked. But then also as the ghost, I know his name's Fettel, but we're calling him Fentanyl the whole time. So Fentanyl is also able to possess other characters and then like shoot as that. But like they also had health. So like you'd be randomly shooting a person and your body would blow up and you go, oh, okay. And then you had to wander around, look for someone else's body to use.
That sounds like dumb and not fun at all. Like, how do you mess up 2-player co-op?
WB.
I was thinking of the ghost game Geist on the GameCube, where you actually had a time limit and you had to go find a person. Was there a time limit to find another person to take control of, or?
No, I think the idea was that you had to like So you could stun enemies with because he also had like a weird like ghost shot that he could use. So you could stun enemies. But I think the idea of it was that like he would just be able to jump into other people's bodies and help you. And then I know there's a way too where like if there's only one enemy left, and it's like because certain times during this game, if there were you couldn't continue unless all the enemies were gone. So if you're in the last enemy, Fentanyl could just blow them up from the inside. And it goes, oh look, now the door's open.
Yeah, this game did like that. There was one part where I was stuck for like 5 minutes because the door wouldn't like whatever's supposed to happen wouldn't happen. I'm like, what am I missing? And there was a guy stuck on a higher platform that just got stuck in the geometry, and I had to shoot him, and then the door opened, and then people bust through, and the game continued. I was irritated. Bad game design.
So I've come away from this game finding it the most interesting, and it all really does boil down to their decision to crowbar in the multiplayer, because like I decided to give like good faith to the story and pay attention to it. The story is both, like you said, very convoluted and also very simple, because the first half is just okay, I want to get back to Sun Quan, and the back half of the story is we've got to find Beckett and stop Alma. But then apparently everyone's motivation changes in time for there to be the brotherly rivalry at the very end.
But like, what are you trying to stop? She's already pregnant.
So the idea is that what's the guy's name? The guy you're trying to stop? Not Fentanyl.
No, you just said it. I can't remember.
You just said it. Beckett. Beckett wants to use the baby to rule the world because he's stupid, because that's not how that works. And so the whole point is that Fentanyl's ghost has come back and wants both of you to go stop him, because it was not revealed in the first game, but Beckett's the reason why both of you are fucked up. So the idea is to go save your mother, which was revealed at the end of the first game, and to probably kill her. I think they imply that they're very much going to kill Alma from the get-go.
Yeah.
And stop whatever is going on with the baby.
Her from having the baby, I think, is the plan.
Yeah. At least stop Beckett from using the baby to take over the world.
Beckett is the doctor that experimented on you in the before everything happened in the first game.
No, that's Wade.
Okay, Wade. Beckett was the guy that you played as in 2 that then got raped and impregnated her. I thought he's just a victim in this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, no. Apparently, because Alma blowing up her father at the end of 1 wasn't enough, we need to go and do shotgun therapy to her on his ghost.
She is the ultimate evil. Yeah, that's not implied very well. But I think I know what the situation is, but we'll go from there. Because the main thing I want to talk about, we all talk about pregnant Alma. Look at pregnant Alma. Isn't that weird? She's pregnant. The special edition of this game where you got a glow-in-the-dark, naked, pregnant Alma statue. And I remember seeing that as a kid and being like, yo, what the fuck? And even like internet being like, yo, what the fuck? Especially because if you like charge her and then turn the light off, her whole body would glow, but you can see the baby inside of her tummy.
Credit for ingenuity, I suppose. It could have just been a solid hunk of vinyl.
I mean, all I can think of is like the people out there who worked for like GameStop at the time would have some people got that for free. So somebody randomly probably had that statue because it's 360 days. So like,
hello, welcome to GameStop.
Some people had to try and sell this statue.
If they didn't, it might have cost them their job.
I don't know. That nothing beats the sand, the sand globe that had Chris inside of it for RE5, and you also got a gold chain necklace with Africa, and it said Kajuju on it. So they're kind of
I remember that.
They're kind of tie and what the fuck is going on with 360 special editions?
Oh god!
Hey, please we forget the Dead Island Riptide torso bikini torso about the head, arm, or legs. That's what I thought when you showed me the special edition.
Yeah, 360 like special edition days were really weird because you also had what was it? You had that, but then you also had like, hey, look, here's Infamous 2 where you got Cole's backpack, and it's like, oh, cool. Or you got like, oh, here's Dead Space 2, and you also got like, what was it? Here's Dead Space 2, and you get a plasma cutter replica, and it's like, oh, I wish I had money back then.
Oh, now I'm thinking of the Darksider special edition that had like the statue of the sword.
Oh, yeah.
That one was cool, actually.
A lot cooler than a pregnant Alma. A pregnant naked Alma. Don't forget the naked part.
Hella naked.
Which isn't even the model they use in the game.
Yeah, because that final model you see is pretty weird looking.
This
Like-
game's weird.
Like as grotesque as her actual appearance in the game is, I think it would have made a less tacky statue.
I just don't understand that that's what they went with. Like, but I guess that was the era. Like, I've never really bought collector's editions because I don't even buy games new usually. So, like, it's just weird to me because there are people out there who have that statue.
Yeah, I think the idea is that they just want to have a special edition to charge people with, and I think there's
thing at the time.
Yeah, so there was just someone trying to push out something, and they're like, just make a statue of fucking pregnant Alma and make it glow in the dark. That'll be fine. People will like it, and no one liked it. I
bought Funko Pops. I bought Amiibos. I mean, so I am a sucker. I've just never bought a statue.
I've got statues. I got anime statues, so
I've looked at them. I've never bought any. I've thought about it. One of my issues
when
with
this
this
game
game
gets transported to Switch, that comes with the amiibo.
I didn't buy any amiibo today, but I do buy amiibos. A bunch got reprinted actually recently, and I bought a Charizard a couple weeks ago. So I'm still a sucker. I forgot to look today when I was at GameStop and bought Funko Pops, and had the idiots try to sell me a credit card and really, really push me to upgrade. And I want to be like, buddy, fuck you. Like, I know you're doing your job, but enough.
Yeah, I feel so bad for those guys.
Well, it was just like I was so tempted to say, you know what? Hey, I'll renew if you can get GameStop to bring that game home. Or how about that guy? Like, I was so tempted to be that asshole and say something like that, but I was like, they're just doing their job. I know. But he wouldn't hit the button so I could pay. Like, that was the part that got me. He kept talking,
sucks.
and he wouldn't let me pay until, like, I don't mind if you talk and do your spiel, but let me pay. Like, you can talk while I'm paying. He would not hit the button, and I didn't realize it right away. I'm like, wait a second, he didn't hit the fucking button.
Yeah,
and that's when I got a little I didn't say anything, but I was getting irritated. I'm like, you asked me, I've said no 3-4 times. Like, I'm a sales guy too. I work in sales. But like, your second no, you move on. I have no problem with you asking for a second no, because that's what I have to do too in my job. So I get it. But after that, end it.
Yeah, I was gonna say, speaking of fucked up tangents, you see they don't even test Game Boy Advance cartridges anymore, or currently.
I mean, don't buy retro games at GameStop. So
yeah.
I mean, hey, this is considered retro also too at this point.
Oh god,
it is. It's a couple gens behind.
Go to your local GameStop and buy F.E.A.R.A, you guys.
I mean, hey, I'd be happy if GameStop brought back 360 games. They shouldn't be messing with cartridges, but I think 360 is fine to have.
They're running a whole retro section. They're only doing it at certain GameStops, but like my local GameStop's doing it, where they're apparently selling retro games in the store. But it's also the one thing I hate, which someone agreed with, but it's whatever, is I think they should be. I think if you go to GameStop and sell your older games, A, I think they should give you a little bit more, and then B, they should also give you more if you have the manual and the original cover for it.
Yes.
Because I mean, I don't mind going
more.
Yeah, I don't mind going to GameStop, but it's like, oh, cool, you have your local copy of like a game I've been looking for. Oh, you've only got the disc. You don't even have like the PS3 cover for it. I understand maybe PlayStation, but like.
But that also goes along with what they do for, like, remember DS, where they just threw away the cases at one point. So
yeah.
Oh, one of my really big complaints with this game, which this might be a me complaint here, is I don't like how every mission you lose all your weapons and just start off with a pistol. I do not. I mean, I know why, because they're essentially like you're starting a new online mission, but I don't like it personally. Anyone else have a problem with it?
I think they used it pretty well for pacing in a couple of them, but yeah, it did just make the intent of what the game actually was just too clear.
It just bothered me because, like, I don't know, there's something about it just didn't feel right for me, and I was annoyed. I also got really annoyed when they added like the zombie type guys that you fight, because I don't like, this is for me in all shooters, I don't like a game where the enemies I fight do not drop ammo for me to then use to kill more. Because I ran out of ammo almost in that supermarket mission. Like, it got really close.
The one thing I'll at least admit, I think it goes for all three games. The only good feeling weapon in this game is the shotgun.
Shotgun does feel good in this game. This is a good shotgun.
Mm-hmm. Well, F.E.A.R.'s always had a good shotgun. I think since like F.E.A.R. both F.E.A.R. 1, 2, and 3 all have really good shotguns.
I mean, well, if I ask you to think of a gun that really is the F.E.A.R. gun, the one that always comes to mind for me is a stake gun. Are you guys in the same boat with me?
Yeah, either that or the some variety of beam cannon.
Really isn't in this game, except for one.
Oh god, yeah, there's only like one spot where you get to use it,
and it's terrible. But the reason I say that is you don't get the stake gun till way late in this game. And to me, that's a disservice to the franchise. Because I love
But
that.
it has
show.
the riot shield, though.
My God, I had to use the riot shield in one particular section because I don't think it was possible for me to do it without using the riot shield.
I had the exact same thing happen. Did it happen in the airport mission?
With 2 electric guys that shocked the hell out of you?
I learned you could just bash those 2 guys, and that's how you win the battle.
Oh, I didn't do that. I took the shield, shot him with the pistol until I ran out of ammo, and hoped to God I killed one of them, or at least close to it, and then ran around, and it took me like 6 tries.
So my first try, I ran out of ammo and tried bashing him and just died. Second try, I was like, can I just keep punching him with the shield? And that's how I got rid of the shield, and I used my bullets just to shoot the 2. Personally, not a good section.
How do you... I never knew how to bash in this game.
Just the melee button?
Yeah, I never knew what the melee button was.
Oh. I played with a controller, it's just the regular stick.
Oh, I played with mouse and keyboard, but I didn't try to figure it out. Like, I just didn't care. I was like, whatever. I'll just shoot you.
Oh, speaking of controls, I looked at the control layout, hated it, switched to like a more standardized control layout, for like a Halo control, and then it just didn't work. Then I went back to the original awkward control layout and the Xbox, and it was fine. Still not ideal.
That surprises me if they couldn't get it right. Because the other, I feel like controls, like I played all 3 games mouse and keyboard, but this one felt clunky. Where I don't think the other 2 felt that clunky, and this one felt off for some reason. I can't really explain it, but it just felt a little off. Also, it was way too sensitive at first. I had to turn down the sensitivity because it was just incredible.
I feel that.
So
Well,
it bothered me.
I also like my game sensitive because I'm a weirdo.
It can work. I don't mind, because I play mouse keyboard, so I don't mind it to be, I want it to be sensitive so I can get, pretty good shots on, but it was like way, way too much where I just moved it and it just went spiraling across the screen. Like unplayable at first until I fixed it, which was weird to me. I don't know, there was just something about this game that just felt off. There weren't enough like spooky moments that really kind of fuck with you like F.E.A.R. has in F.E.A.R. 1 and F.E.A.R. 2. There weren't some stuff that felt as claustrophobic either. Like I forget who it was in the chat, but one of you guys had mentioned about how, hey, at least it wasn't office buildings over and over again, which you're not wrong. But kind of missed it.
Yeah, because like the only level that really like stands out to me, I will give them the credit of saying they use some of their better variety of environments really interestingly. Like, as much of a slog as the supermarket is, the idea of turning the freezers into both the boundaries of an arena and the place enemies can spawn from is pretty cool. I kind of liked the prison because of how you had both very good line of sights usually, but also where anyone was going was still quite constricted. But yeah, none of it ever was able to capture the really satisfying, like, close quarters decision making of the earlier games.
I know the AI is smarter in this than maybe some games. I don't play enough shooters, but they didn't feel as smart as they do in F.E.A.R. 1 and F.E.A.R. 2. And I don't mind stupid AI. Game's easier. I won't complain. But they did flank me sometimes in this game. They did talk about it too. And they will say where you are, just like F.E.A.R. 1 and F.E.A.R. 2. But something still just didn't feel right.
It goes through a lot. The one thing you said, there's not a lot of different common enemy types, like we were talking about earlier. You have like the common human people, which also have bombs strapped to their chest, which also was a thing back then. You have, sniper enemies, and you have the electric enemies, and there wasn't even, like, I don't remember F.E.A.R. and F.E.A.R. 2 very well, but they were very much horror games. Like, I think the only non-human enemy you fight in this game besides the final boss is the weird, like, little dog creatures that Alma summons, and you have to fight butt-fuck ton loads of those at some point.
Near the end of the game, but that's it. And they're just, There's nothing. F.E.A.R. 1 and F.E.A.R. 2 have more spots where Alma pops out, where weird shit is just happening around you. You feel very claustrophobic. You'll just see more blood. It just has like a different feel to it, where this felt like Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it just leans in too hard into the military sci-fi aesthetic.
And I don't know, it was kind of... I don't mind having a few games that aren't really horror games in the way I start Spooktober, because I curse myself very quickly as Spooktober goes on, so I'm okay with this. But it would have been nice to have a little bit more horror to it, like we did with the other titles. And this one just felt, it didn't, where the other ones are, because the other ones are very much like you just follow, like you're just going through a game. With the fact that this had these mission breaks, it really broke up something about the game to me, it just didn't feel right. Like, I liked in the fact that F.E.A.R. 1 and F.E.A.R. 2 it's just continuously like you're just playing and things are just happening. And it feels like one big day, where this just felt differently because you have all these multiplayer, like, oh, time to start the new mission. No, something about that I didn't like. And I really hated the zombie guys because you could blow off their arm, blow off their leg. There was one guy that blew off both his arms. He was still coming at me. I'm like, what are you going to do to me? But he wasn't dead. There was some stuff like that where I'm like, this is just stupid.
I want to say in the beginning, there's maybe like one Alma jump scare, and then I don't think you even see one for the whole game till the ending.
There's a couple, but not many. There's the weird monster thing that grabs you and like will start to hurt you, and then you'll then disappear to make you think you're going to die or something. But I just don't understand the point of it.
Oh God!
Wait,
yeah, I just
it looks like a Demogorgon. It's not, but it looks like a Demogorgon from Stranger Things.
Mike, that's the final boss.
But that is the final boss. But you do see it throughout the game too.
Yeah, that's the point. It's haunting you. Ooh.
Oh, okay. I beat this game a week ago. I beat it in 2 days. Or 3 days. It was very quick.
The only time I felt any fear in my F.E.A.R. game was actually in the supermarket, because he could just hear that monster breathe. And I was like, when's he going to jump out? He doesn't. And other than that, it's like all the Alma quote-unquote jump scares weren't. I was kind of really enjoying and laughing when you're at the airport going through like the mobility walkways and she's on the other end coming towards you. I'm like, oh, hey, what's up, Mom?
Yeah, that one, God, I think this game's big sin is just that it can't hold a tone.
No.
Because, like, yeah, the scary moments are either just wonderful comedy bits, like seeing Alma going down the opposite escalator, or...
Oh, yeah.
It just doesn't know what it feels like this was a game, like they had an idea of what they wanted to do and whatever they pitched, and I guarantee you some exec who makes way too much money said, no, this is what we're going to do. This makes more sense. Because I can't see that this was the creative direction that they wanted to go.
Well, yeah, because you can even tell kind of from the beginning, the original point of the game was supposed to be, obviously you're in some kind of like post-apocalypse because apparently Alma's baby contractions are causing like the end of the world.
Oh, so that's why. Okay, I was wondering why shit is falling apart. Like I didn't know what the hell was happening.
Yeah, when you walk outside and see the big tower, every time there's like a big thing, you hear her scream, and then they're like, "Oh no, Alma's contractions are getting worse," and you're kind of like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, this game took me 5 hours.
Do you guys think this game's not scary just because Fennel keeps calling you brother and Alma your mother? So it's less of a horror game and more of a family game.
Family.
It's just, I mean, it's just the way it just doesn't feel. It isn't as tense. The fighting arenas aren't as fun and they aren't as claustrophobic, and they don't feel as well as created as artistically as they do in the other games. Where in this it just has a different feeling to it. It feels so much like Call of Duty, and I can't get over that.
So funny enough, because I asked y'all something, I'm surprised no one clicked 2 and 2 together. It is the CEOs and executives' fault, because the guy that wrote the F.E.A.R. series went on to write probably my favorite, most awesomest reboot ever, Resident Evil 7.
Oh.
Which also has a little girl that's creepy as fuck in it. So it proves you can continue to write a game about a creepy little girl and about family. You just don't let the executives get in the way.
Well, it wasn't by choice, I'm sure. But yes.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the cutscenes were directed by John Carpenter in this, which I didn't know.
What the fuck?
He didn't write it, but he directed them.
That must have been an easy paycheck.
Yes. And an easy point to just put on, which I didn't know was in the game, but the YouTube video I was watching a little bit before while I was playing Bloodborne told me about that. So that's how I know.
The cutscenes at least are paced pretty well.
I didn't mind I enjoyed the cutscenes for what they are. They just got annoying to me because it's like, oh, you beat a level, here's your reward. Have a cutscene that talks about us as kids in a room where where one's being tortured. I'm just like, I don't like this. That got to me.
To be fair, I also think they ran out of money at some point, because I think it's really funny to be like, all right, end of chapter, time for the next chapter, big cutscene, and it's like, Point Man and Fentanyl are on their way to their mother. Who will survive the next point? But there's even a part where he falls into like the blood ocean, and the next scene he's just not there.
Oh, I don't remember that. I don't remember this game.
That's like how the helicopter fight ends: is you go off the side of a bridge into the tree.
It did feel like stuff was missing at times. I bet. Yeah, no, that probably tracked. They were running out of money. Plus, Warner Brothers is not the best at making decisions.
Anything ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like The story, as like they're trying to, as like they probably intended for it, is doing something that I find kind of interesting in like trying to change the story to actually like care about the emotional stakes and interiority of like Alma and the weird fucked up implications of their whole family. But then the rest of the game doesn't give a shit about it. Because the rest of the game gives you 1,500 points for finding a corpse.
See, normally that stuff doesn't take me out of a game, but for some reason in here, it really took me out. And I didn't like it. I don't know, like, I would get headshots and, like, I don't know, this didn't feel like the game where I wanted a score system. Anyone else feel that way, where it just felt, like, out of place?
I think the score system would have been fine if they didn't add it up every time, like, when you were doing stuff. Because it is really weird to be, like, playing the game, and it's, like, it's even weirder because I don't think we mentioned it yet at all. Be in the middle of a fight and everything slows down and it goes, level up, your health is now increased and you can now carry an extra grenade. And it's like, oh, I know this game did that.
Yeah. Just...
I thought they were limiting ammo as a creative decision to make the game more tense. No, it's a progression system that I'm just now finding out about an hour in.
Yeah, I kind of had an issue with that too. It just, I don't know. I mean, I liked it, but at the same time, it just didn't feel right in this game. This is, I don't, it was just weird to me. Normally, I'm not bothered by stuff, but for some reason, it, like, not stuff like that. For some reason, it took me out of the experience. But my other issue is that sometimes it gets me to do things I shouldn't be doing. Like, it got me like achievement hunting almost. And I'm like, this is not good for me. I don't want this. Because I will use a particular weapon or I will try to kill people in a certain fashion just to get... And I realize, these aren't achievements. These are just built-in game experience for whatever reason. And that's what I thought at first. But I've done that with games where I purposely will play differently than I should because of achievements. That's why I don't hunt achievements anymore.
Yeah, it's a game that wants to be a serious, thinky story-driven kind of campaign, but then the publishers want it to be an arcadey shooter thing that you can just play endlessly over and over again.
You could very much also play this over and over again, by the way. I
disagree, but yes. I mean, short enough, but I have no desire to ever again. But I mean, they were going for that. You can feel it. And I bet you this was a game that came out with a Game Pass on it, where you had to buy it new to get or pay $10 to get the go online.
I think so. I'm not 100% sure, and someone can prove me wrong, but I think you did have to, because I think this is the same year Batman. Yeah, this would have been the same year Batman Arkham City came out. Okay, yeah, then it's definitely during that time. This game definitely had an online pass, because it was when they were trying to combat people buying the game used at GameStop, because GameStop was making buttloads of money at this time. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't like those Game Passes because I bought everything used, but I get it.
So one thing that I'll at least admit, I know we do complain about it, but the weirder part is, there should have been a way, and I guess it proves that there's cut corners as well. The whole reason why a lot of that whole experience point stuff exists is for multiplayer, because when you play multiplayer, you do compete for the ending. There are two different endings to this game, and when you do play multiplayer, you actually are competing against the other person to get the ending. So so finding bodies is basically rewarding of exploring or beating the secondary character to an area that they haven't been for, or rewarded for exploring. Same thing with everything else, like getting headshot kills and doing other kinds of kills and things like that. And I kind of didn't want to jump into it until a little bit later, but whenever you see at the bottom of the screen when you and Fentanyl are fucking arguing, it's who's got the most psychic ability and range and everything. Yeah, that's supposed to be, and it's uneven in general because I think it's only 5 sections. So whoever gets best out of 3 ends up getting their ending.
Oh, I mean, I just played it with the way the single player, so I just saw Point Man's ending.
Yeah, so
that's cool. But
Solo said you're going to be the best every time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do want to talk about those electric guys, the blue guys that we were mentioning earlier, where they can jump, they can teleport and go through things and open up new portals. They're essentially mini bosses in this game, or bosses if you want to put it that way, and I really hated them.
You can stun lock them with electro grenades,
which I did not know until I watched it. But yes, or you can just struggle.
Switch grenade button
on the controller. The arrows swap your grenades.
I don't know how you did it on the keyboard. I couldn't switch them.
Oh, boo!
I don't
Probably
think
needed to use the number pad or something.
I don't have a number pad on my keyboard. My laptop's smaller. It doesn't come with a number. It doesn't come with that right side number pad, unfortunately.
If you go to our Patreon, you can recommend a new keyboard or a new gaming computer for.
I mean, I'm actually working on it. I'm gonna buy. I actually found one on Amazon because I have gift cards from work, and I'm like, So I'm going to actually buy one eventually. I'm waiting for it to go on sale or for my birthday, whatever comes first. It's gonna happen this year because I want to upgrade so I can play PS3 and 360 games on my computer emulate with no issue. Because there are games I want to play on PS3 that I will not buy because they are expensive as hell, like Folklore. I want to play that, and I am not shelling out $100 for that game on eBay or whatever the hell it costs.
No, that's cool, Mike. You have a PS5. It's all good in the hood.
I mean, yeah, they get their money. But to talk about like when this game didn't have enemies that weren't humans, and like the dogs were so fucking annoying to fight, and that kind of I didn't care for that. Like there's one level or one mission you have to fight a mech at the end of it, and I died probably 5 or 6 times on it, where he like flies down and you're in a small square and he just destroys you.
I'm talking about, I died a lot there too because whenever I killed him, he sent off one last missile volley and it absolutely fucking obliterated me.
Were we talking about the one in the suburbs?
Yeah.
Yes.
I think so, yes.
Oh, yeah. I spent so much time just like blindly running around that with my screen red. Just that fight is not good.
There's a trick to it, apparently. Watching the speed run, before he flies into the stage, you can actually shoot him and damage him while he's still jumping on other roofs coming to you.
Shut the fuck up. Nuh-uh.
Yep, they use the laser beam cannon thing, and they literally just hit him constantly until he gets there, and then they stand in a certain angle where he can't hit them, but he just stands there and tries to shoot him and misses completely, and they just hold on the button. So, yeah, he can be cheesed. Which I didn't know either, because I died 5 or 6 times. And I was very irritated. So the bosses in this game really bothered me for the most part. I did not enjoy fighting. There was one fight because the electric guys, they also summon more enemies, so they're constantly summoning ads that fight you. There was one of them where I think it's on the bridge, near the end of the bridge, where I had a really hard time with him, and I got lucky and finally beat him. I struggled a bit with this game in the second half.
I did too, it's okay.
Okay, it's good. It wasn't just me because I felt like when you get to like mission 6, because this game is 8 missions long?
Yeah, probably.
Probably mission 5 or 6. The difficulty really starts to crank up.
I can think of a couple moments off the top of my head that I had some issues with. The one we just mentioned in the suburbs. I had difficulty when you first get the mech, and then because there's 2 mechs, you get a small little tiny little bitty mech. And then you also get the biggest hell one, which also I was remembered to ask y'all, is there only a gun on the small mech?
Yes.
Okay, then why the fuck, whenever the enemies are using it, they can fire a fucking laser? Because I was like, is there a laser button that I'm missing that I don't know is here?
It might have been on one of the shoulders, like the Big Mech's rockets, but yeah, I'd never used it either, if there is one.
I don't think so. I hit all the buttons, too.
There probably isn't then.
I started hitting keys.
Yeah, that probably isn't then.
I didn't really like it when you get to drive a mech in this game. It didn't feel as overpowered as I wanted to feel. I died in the mech multiple times fighting the helicopters and other mechs. Like, I feel like in F.E.A.R. 2, when you got a mech, you felt like you're a badass for that little chunk. In this game, I didn't feel as a badass. So, I don't know. There were a lot of things in this game that just felt off.
Yeah, this game doesn't really have, like, any one major sticking point. It just has a lot of small annoyances that they're like splinters that you don't really notice them until you flex your finger and go, fuck. And then that just reminds you how slipshod everything is.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't like it when I had to fight. Like, there was one where you had to fight like 2 or 3 mechs on the bridge at one time, and I was literally at the end of it, I hid behind something and played Ring Around the Rosie to get my health. On the end of the level, when you had to fight a mech, and I literally there's a big block in the middle that he can't shoot you, and I would walk around in circles to let my health refill. Yep.
A sign of a good boss fight is when you're playing peekaboo.
I mean, I'm okay with it in certain games, but not in a F.E.A.R. I don't like bosses in F.E.A.R. shooters usually anyway. They usually don't end good. It's a hard thing to pull off. I know on the bridge a couple times I got out of the mech because my mech was about to blow up, but apparently if you get out of it, it doesn't blow up.
Yes. I want to say that's probably only on easy mode, though. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, okay, I was on easy.
I was too. That's why I'm like, this feels like that shouldn't be this
Yeah,
easy.
it felt a little. But at the same time, if you lose your mech, it's game over because you will not survive till those helicopters. Like, well, the first time I lost my mech, I ran from it and I just got blown up instantly. They just killed me. So you have to have a mech to get through that bridge part. It is impossible to take down those helicopters without your mech. So you don't have a choice.
Second mech you can take and use like halfway through the mission or right before that section?
Right before that section, yes, you can trade up, but also your mechs heal when you're not if you're not getting murdered.
Okay. Yeah, I was playing a medium and did not die in my mech. I think I got off it once and watched it fully heal, but
I think
it was not
better than
the
us.
F.E.A.R. 2 mech.
I can't remember. F.E.A.R. 2, you were like super powerful. That's my memory, but then again, this was a year ago.
God damn it! You know what else that reminds me of, Mike? What Call of Duty came out in 2011? Did fucking Black
That was
Ops?
Call of Duty 3.
Did Call of Duty 3 have a mech? I don't remember.
I had the little drone that you drove around in like the first mission. I thought this game had more in common with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2.
We played the Modern Warfare, but I can't remember them either. So
Yeah.
Well, you had the mission where you're in South America chasing the one guy through the villa.
Oh
The
yeah.
second mission. Then there's the suburbs and all the apartments. It's kind of when the Russians invaded, I thought.
Oh yeah, you're right.
There's a couple others that remind me of Modern Warfare 2 in general.
Well, I mean, they were trying to ape that. I mean, that's what this is. This is, can we mimic what Activision is doing and get all the money?
Go listen to the Call of Duty episodes that me, Mike, and Milk did, when then you can come yell at me and tell me that I was super wrong about there being a mech in one of the Black Ops did.
I do want to play the Black Ops series. Well, we actually are at some point.
Not Black Ops, my bad. Modern Warfare.
Modern Warfare.
Yeah.
There's some kind of suit in the end of Modern Warfare 3. There's something.
Oh yeah,
you have.
the Juggernaut suit.
No, it's more than that. You're in like some like really heavy power. Maybe it's Juggernaut. I don't remember.
Yeah, because the other one that we wanted to play, the one I wanted to play with fucking Kevin Spacey, has
Advanced Warfare.
Yeah, Advanced Warfare has a big mech, but that's a Xbox One game. So
no, that's 360 and PS3 also. But it's after Ghost, and Ghost was the first one that went to Xbox One. So yes, that's later. Okay, weird how I remember certain things. Was it? Yeah, Xbox One. I think another issue I had with this game, it's just something about, we were talking a little earlier, the guns didn't feel as good, the grenade didn't feel as good.
Oh yeah, the grenades suck in this game.
Yeah, it wasn't, there were just a lot of issues. Like, I didn't use a stake gun enough. Like, one thing I love about F.E.A.R. 1 and F.E.A.R. 2 is sticking a guy to a wall, and it really wasn't a thing that much in this game. Like, they barely used that weapon. And I love sticking the guys to the walls. That was just fun. You don't get to do that here as much. The dogs are super fucking annoying in this game too. I just hated fighting them.
Yeah, I was so glad that they're only for one level.
So was I the only one who sat there for like fucking 10 deaths and then realized you had to shut the fucking gate to get them to fuck off? In like the second to last chapter, there's a part where you're like in the airport and you're underground and a bunch of the dogs show up, and I'm like, I've died like fucking like 10 times. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Yeah, when you've got to get to like the freight dock or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm talking about, yeah.
It was like right after the two blue guy fight.
Yeah, it's.
Yeah.
I didn't die, but I figured, I was like, I killed a few, and then they started respawning, and then I'm like, okay, there's something I'm missing here.
I
saw the scene where she's on the other escalator thing right next to you. Okay, that's just stupid.
Of all of the times for this game not to have a door automatically close behind you.
Because it's on purpose. It isn't by accident. It's supposed to like bring up the tension, I guess, or make the game feel longer. Because this was a short game.
That's what I'm thinking. Because in the city section where you're running through the city and you have to open the gates, that's on a timer, which I think is purposely designed to extend the length of the mission.
Oh.
The underground dog section, I felt the same thing because I hit the button, but they still kept coming, and I was running around, and I didn't have any ammo until eventually they stopped after a certain amount of time, where I killed a certain number, and I'm like, having the two blue guys fight, which just wasn't fun, and this back-to-back just made the game, additional 10, 15 minutes longer for no real reason.
That blue guy fight and a couple other parts really felt like you were supposed to be playing this game co-op. It just felt balanced for co-op. It didn't feel balanced for single player.
It's balanced,
in my opinion. And that was my issue. Like, it just, there were just times where it just felt a little too hard, and I'm playing this on easy. Like I shouldn't be struggling. You know, I'm not that bad at games. Like I play enough of them, but I'm not bad at them. So when I'm struggling with certain things on the easiest difficulty, I'm like, there's an issue here. I mean, Bloodborne's a different story. So, but that was something I kept thinking about too while playing this game. I didn't like how there are a lot of places in this game where you have to kill a certain amount of enemies for a door to open. I don't know. I didn't like that. I kill everybody because that's just how I play, but it did annoy me a couple times. The checkpoints were okay in this game. They're not terrible, but they were okay. There's enough of them. I got to use them quite often later in the game, though. So I get it why we don't have a save system because you can't do that with an online game. And this isn't a PC game like where F.E.A.R. 1 and F.E.A.R. 2 were very much PC games, or F.E.A.R. 1 was. This felt more like a console game.
Do we know how deaths work when you're playing cooperatively? Like, does it just reset the mission if one of you dies, or is there a timer for the second player to save you or make you respawn?
The timer. You can go and bring your brother back up as the ghost fentanyl.
Timers are fine. I mean, that does feel very much like the time. The electric guys are super fucking annoying. I forgot how many you fight in this game. I'm watching the speedrun right now. Like, man, you fight a lot of them. I hate them every time.
Hey, they are still better than the Puppet Masters.
I don't remember the Puppet Masters.
They were the big guys who would just run around in circles, reviving the same enemies. I
know what you're talking about now. Yeah, okay, you're right. These are better. See, even though it's been a year, I don't remember anything about F.E.A.R. 1 or F.E.A.R. 2.
I suppose that's the curse of this franchise is...
forgettable?
Yeah, there's exactly one memorable thing about it, and each one uses it less and less.
I mean, there's the slow-mo or just the Alma thing?
Alma, because I think most people don't even remember that this game's bit is slow-mo.
Yeah, that is fair. Alma... I mean, I feel like Alma would have stand out more. I mean, she really does in the first two games. In this game, she just isn't relevant.
Well, she's busy pushing out a baby, that's why.
That's just weird. Like, you can't...
It's weird.
I don't like it. So eventually, doesn't she have her... She has her baby at the end of this game, right? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah, she gives birth.
Yeah. You fight, like, the really weird, like... Because whenever it happened, I'm like, oh, yeah, this is what happens when you can't think of what to make a final boss for a third-person shooter horror game. Because you just fight, like, a big guy.
Yeah.
And did y'all know you had to shoot him in the mouth for a weak point? Because I didn't figure that out until, like, my third death.
The red thing gave it away for me.
Yeah, I kind of intuited it from the big red glow.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
It was just a video game. I mean, I can get how you didn't notice it, because this game doesn't really have... That's not a mechanic in this game that shoot the glowing spot, and all of a sudden it is.
Well, it also shows up for like half a second, too, but then again, I guess the whole point was to slow down time and then shoot it.
That's what I did.
Well, my issue was I saw the white glowing bit in the net, shot that, but then his skull would turn red, and I was like, oh, that's where I shoot next. No, it's not. You keep shooting the throat over and over and over again.
Yeah, that's kind of, misleading there. I think maybe the guy told me to shoot. I did have a guide open, but I didn't really use it a whole lot. I just had it there to kind of keep track of where I'm getting at in the game. And I do that a lot for games. I like to have a guide open so I know like how far my progress is and how close I am getting to the end. So I'm watching the speedrun of how they fight the two guys. They don't pick up the shield at all. They just throw a spark grenade and then stand there and just continuously shoot them. And pretty much are able to stun lock them with the grenades.
Yeah, what is it? I think it was whenever you fight one of them by themselves, I realized it. I just threw a shot grenade, and I know they walked up to him and shot him with a shotgun. He died after, I dumped, a whole magazine into him, and I was like, oh, cool. Glad that works.
That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to just stun lock them. I did not do that. I just tossed every single grenade I had all at once. Literally, that was my strategy.
I didn't know how to switch grenades, so I probably used my grenades in the fight before that, and I didn't have any stun lock grenades, and it's like, oh, I got 2 bullets in my gun.
I had an issue with it because right before the checkpoint came, I didn't reload my gun and I didn't have much ammo. So I had some hard time because I'd have to go find ammo very quickly every time when the game re-checkpoint. I was like, this is stupid. And apparently for the dog part that we were talking about with the door, you can stand on a box and they can't touch you.
Oh.
So
okay.
I had trouble jumping over boxes, even though that was a feature. Oh yeah, this game has Gears of War cover mechanics.
Oh, yeah, it does, which I never used, but it does.
It was annoying when I was trying to crouch behind a crate, and it made me take cover behind the crate.
Yeah, or when you hit the wrong button and you jump over the crate. Yeah, that wasn't good either. I mean, I guess that was just a thing, too. I mean, everything had to be a cover shooter. I don't miss that.
So this was something that I was actually talking with someone recently about because I went and replayed Gears of War. That game gets cover shooting right because the whole pace of gameplay is built around it. You can't just drop cover shooting into a traditional military FPS because it's about being able to get around quickly.
Yeah,
And
it
that's
does.
just like another point in the column of things F.E.A.R. 3 does because everyone else is doing it better.
I think the first F.E.A.R. game had the lean mechanic.
Oh yeah, that's gone.
That's gone in the second game.
No, you
I
can
don't-
lean.
You can lean. I didn't lean in this game.
Yeah, that
It's
was a
just
part-
a pain in the ass.
Yeah, there was a part where I was covering and I looked to the left and I was able to lean to the left from cover, but
Well, I think that's the cover shooting mechanic where if you're in cover, you could lean. It doesn't look good because your like right arm is on the left side of the screen. It's like, yeah, just detach your head from your body.
It's fair. And Ron, why don't you tell us about the last level experience for you?
Oh, okay. So I didn't play this game in a day or two. I kind of just did take my time. I did like a mission a night. And the first few missions are kind of short, 15, 20 minutes long. And then the second half gets a little more difficult, a little more intriguing. So the cityscape where it's falling apart, I thought was very, very engaging. I wanted to keep on going. It felt like a really good F.E.A.R. game. And airport level was kind of like that. Longer, 45 minutes to go through. And then it's like, okay, I have one last mission. And because they're taking so long, I'm just going to wait until tomorrow because it was late. And then I was just getting kind of stressed out. It's like, man, it's going to take me a while to get through it. I'm going to wait till my day off 2 days later. The mission was over in 15 minutes.
It's weird to me that every mission has like a certain amount of, because again, they're made for online, where that last mission is really just you wandering around a place, seeing a couple cutscenes, and you eventually fight a boss fight, and that's it.
The
And
last mission is a walking simulator.
yeah, it makes no sense.
Hey, we can now compare it to Stanley Parable.
And I
Well,
guess
you-
you're breaking items or like destroying stuff that's from your past. I don't know. It just was very odd to me, and it didn't fit the pace. It felt like it belonged in what should have been F.E.A.R. 3, not what we got.
Yeah, if it was not apparent, what you are doing in the last level is you are putting to bed Alma's ceaseless rage by killing the memory of Harlan Wade.
So is Harlan Wade her dad and also your dad?
He is her dad, your grandfather.
No, because he also says you guys are incestuous abominations. So I'm assuming it's implied that he had relations with his daughter to produce the two of you.
Is that in the first or second game?
It's in this game.
Yeah,
Okay.
there's no sign of, like, in the first game, it's just kind of assumed that, like, they're test tube babies.
Yeah.
There's a part where you're running through the like the level, and he's like yelling at you, and he's like, you're just a bunch of Neanderthal incestuous blah 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 blah. And I'm like, wait.
My brother in Christ, you are the one doing the incest.
Oh, I'm watching that final boss fight. You're right. The eyes, where the eyes are glow. I shot the eyes too after I shot the throat, thinking that's what you're supposed to do. That's not very good game design there, guys. And I forgot, like, very much like after you shoot him, he then summons a bunch of ads for you to fight, and then you are able to repeat the process over and over again.
It's the ads that drop ammo.
It's just another way to extend game time.
Oh, it's just the Nicole fight from Dead Space 2 without the threat of insta-dying if Nicole grabs you.
I don't know. You can die from him ground pounding the ground. So
I don't.
That is true.
I don't know how you dodge that. That got me a couple times.
He
You
still does
just I think you actually run close to him because he
Yeah.
targets the back of the arena.
Oh,
I think you're
Yeah.
right, because I was in his face most of the time anyway. I think
If
you
he-
guys are.
I was just using slow-mo to actually shoot his neck even before he would attack. So my boss fight against him was rather quick for that reason, because I'm like, I don't want to get immediately killed.
No,
He
and you're
attacked-
playing on a higher difficulty too, so.
he attacks you from cover, or he attacks your cover. So that's how you dodge those. If just get out of cover, and you won't get hit.
I don't think I was in cover, but if I was standing in the back of the map, which I was, that explains why I was getting slapped into death.
Yeah. God, they really don't know how to fucking make final. Like Dead Space 1 is the only game I can think of that has a really good final boss fight. Because Dead Space 2 is bad. BioShock, which we've also covered, has really bad final boss fight.
Yeah, games struggle with it. Sometimes just don't have a boss fight. Just end the game. Just be like, oh, you got to the end. Congratulations.
So how hard is it to have just like a regular boss? Like, as much as I hate to admit it, the Resident Evil games have always done that pretty okay, which is just, hey, here's the boss, but he's just a human-sized man monster who's 7 feet tall. Yeah, good luck. As opposed to like gimmicky boss fights.
Condemned had a bad boss fight too. The first Condemned.
What is it?
You gotta like you fight that serial killer and you pull things out of him. You pull metal out of him and just keep beating on him. And it's just annoying.
Oh.
I just remember being hard.
So what you're telling me is they should have just reused the bear boss fight and had that as the final boss fight.
That's Condemned 2, is with the bear.
I thought Condemned 1 was the one with the bear. Okay.
No, Condemned 2 has the bear. I had not played Condemned 2 in a very long time because Condemned 2 is not on PC.
Condemned 2 ends where you find out that you have to use the vocal throat stimulations of eldritch Tibetan monks, and you have a voice shout fight, Fuzdalra fight with the serial killer again.
I want to play that game again, but I don't want to put on my 360. So, also the end of F.E.A.R. 3. Well, okay, they find the baby, and depending on which brother wins,
the baby.
Well, she's hugely pregnant. I'm watching the cutscene right now. This is just stupid.
She's usually pregnant.
she's hella pregnant, if anything.
Well, it's like they have like freaking like tentacles that are like out from the baby, like sticking on the walls and stuff. And I guess you shoot the baby and kill her or something.
Which, like, oh yeah, point of order. The first half of this game takes place during F.E.A.R. 2. This entire pregnancy has taken place over the course of hours.
I didn't know that. I didn't realize that this game took place during F.E.A.R. 2. Because you do see the guy from F.E.A.R. 2 being taken away by Amerchan or whatever the hell that group is from before.
Yeah, they are like taking him out of that sphere, like when you and Sun Quan are seeing him in the security feed.
Oh, yeah.
That's weird.
So yeah, he hadn't been in there for like a day.
Yeah, Alma-induced super pregnancy. Well, I mean, to be fair, that doesn't make sense, because the whole point you get at is you see Alma in the first game, and it's kind of like you see her as a child, but then I remembered, I can't remember if they reveal in one of the F.E.A.R. games. I think at the end of F.E.A.R. 1 where she's not actually a child, she's actually like 40 or 50.
Don't remember anything about these games.
Yeah, no, she's been an emaciated corpse for like 15 years.
Yeah.
But she died when she was like 17.
Also, my husband messaged me talking shit about BioShock.
That's what that picture was that you sent?
That's what that picture is. It's my husband in his office, because our offices are right next to each other. And he goes, "Fuck you, I like the ending of BioShock." And I'm like, okay.
Oh, and I guess you, as the point man, you shoot Alma in the head too after you kill the baby or something. I'm watching.
No.
No. Wait, no. He takes the baby out.
He takes the baby, and that's it. And Alma just like disintegrates into powder, like Thanos does.
It being the time, I did expect him to shoot her in the head.
Yeah, that would fit the time.
Well, the idea is supposed to be that fentanyl says that the baby can be used to shape the future. So the idea is it's like, you re-kill your ghost brother and you can use the baby for good, because what's-her-face says that like after Alma dies, everything's going back to normal for the most part. But if you get the fentanyl ending, fentanyl eats the shit out of her and takes the baby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I'm wondering,
Grimace, that is. I think it's more interesting.
Yeah. I wonder if F.E.A.R. 4 would have started with you playing an adult baby and it being very ambiguous as to who won at the end.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to clarify that adult baby statement.
Well, I mean, adult baby as in the baby. I don't know, because it's fucking F.E.A.R. So knowing you, it would reveal that you're the baby, but it's like, so how old is the baby? Oh, the baby's like a year old, but it's a fully grown man, and it's like, oh, okay.
I mean, that does fit. There are a couple different multiplayer options. This game had kind of like a hard mode, I guess, in it too, or something like that. They called it contractions, but it's essentially survive as that's what they called it, contractions. It's survive as many waves as you can.
Okay.
Yeah, you literally. It's like okay, maybe like, is that like zombies kind of then, where you have like, I guess you can put up barricades. Yeah, it's like a zombies mode. I never played it, but I'm watching a a video on YouTube where you can put up barricades on a certain wall, and sit there and put more wood up. Creatures, and then things just keep attacking them, and you just defend your place, and you go get more supplies, I guess, and new weapons you can unlock.
They didn't give a shit about. They didn't give a shit about this game. Sounds like multiplayer is a better version of this than fucking the main story.
Well, I mean, that's what it was made for. It was made for multiplayer. I mean, it was trying to cash in on that time, like that in 2011. I mean, I never played multiplayer games, but wasn't that the thing in 2011 around this time?
Yes.
I kept thinking of like Army of Two. Was that around this time? Where wasn't that like a multiplayer game?
Call of Duty World at War, the first zombies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, Army of Two is a completely co-op game. I own both of them, never played them. Really should someday. Or three of them. Maybe there's three. I can't remember how many there are. I know I own them, though.
There's Army of Two and then the Dog Days.
That's Kane and Lynch.
Army
Dog
of
Days.
Two. Two.
Army of Two. Is the Devil's Cartel?
Maybe that's it.
I think it's on Game Pass. I've definitely seen the cover a few times recently.
Yeah, this essentially is zombies, and then one person will go and grab a box and bring the box back to your base, and then you get more supplies, and that's what you're doing. You're bringing boxes back, and you survive waves. So it's zombies. Okay.
I find it interesting. And when we first did the first F.E.A.R. game 2 years ago, that was the only game that was backwards compatible on Xbox. And now, 3 years later, all three of them are backwards compatible. But for some reason, the first F.E.A.R. game is not available for purchase over the Xbox store.
It's probably a rights issue.
Because the first game was published by Vivendi.
And they don't exist anymore, right?
Yeah.
But wouldn't then the rights revert? But I guess in that case, then someone else gets the rights, or someone else buys them. Well,
because they went to Vivendi, and then Monolith Soft, I think, shuttered.
Yeah, they went away in 2004. Wait, no, that can't be right. Let me see here. Trying to figure out Monolith Productions. No, they're technically still around, I guess.
Wait, is it the ones that did F.E.A.R. or the ones that make Xenoblade?
F.E.A.R.
That's Monolith Soft. This is Monolith Productions that make F.E.A.R.
Okay.
They're still around.
Huh.
I don't know what they made the Shadow Mordor games, and they made the Middle Earth Shadow Mordor games. So yeah.
Oh, that makes sense, being good at AI.
So yeah, they did Condemned 2, F.E.A.R. 2, and then they went on to do Gotham City Imposters, Guardians of Middle Earth, and then they haven't made it. And then supposedly they're working on a Wonder Woman game. Good luck.
I don't know I saw another leak for the Wolverine game. That one actually looks pretty good right now.
It's not that I think a Wonder Woman game could be great. The problem is it's WB.
Oh,
and
yeah.
The guy in charge of WB is like, this is going to cost us $1? Oh, tax write-off. Like, you don't. You did it.
I very much still want my Batman future game where you play as a young Damian Wayne on a motorcycle. I'm so fucking upset we're never getting that.
We were?
Yeah, there were like 3 concepts for like a fourth Batman game. One where you play as an old man Batman that's very heavily inspired by Dark Knight Returns, the last Christopher Nolan movie, where Batman's got a big gray beard and he has like joint accelerators because he's like 50.
This Dark Knight essentially.
Yeah, and then there was another one which is concept art where you're going to play as Damian Wayne, and the main villain was supposed to be the Judge from the Batman animated series. So it was supposed to be Two-Face, but the main villain was the Judge. And there was like Gorilla Grodd was there, and there was an old lady Harley Quinn, and I think the Brain was also supposed to be there too. It looked really good.
God, that could have pivoted into fucking Batman Beyond at some point.
Yeah. What else? What that was supposed to? Oh, and then, well, to be fair, now we have that weird VR Batman game, which I'm never gonna play because I don't have a fucking VR headset.
Do you even want one?
I already have one, but it requires the newer VR headset because it needs eye tracking motion because Batman blinks to do blah 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 blah. I don't know.
Great. Anything else you guys want to say about F.E.A.R., the F.E.A.R. series?
I mean, I guess my final thoughts on this whole franchise is that it started really good. It kind of faltered there in the middle, and then the wheels just fall off completely by the end.
It makes me sad that it's gone. I am sad that we'll never probably get another one at this point. This series, I know there were plans for like a multiplayer game and some other stuff after this, but that never happened and never will at this point. Well, apparently there was a F.E.A.R. Online in 2014, a free-to-play shooter.
No, I think that's the standalone multiplayer for the first game.
Oh.
Because the first game, the servers were hosted on GameSpy, and that folded,
I remember GameSpy.
And then someone just made a standalone, like, dedicated server installer so that people can keep playing F.E.A.R. 1's multiplayer.
Hey, people enjoy it. I mean, I'm sad that we won't get more. I mean, this game wasn't as bad as people made me think it would be. It wasn't great, but it's fine. Like, it exists. It is. I mean, I could have seen this being fun co-op back in the day. Like, had I played co-op with people, like, I could have seen this being kind of fun.
Well, I'm trying to think of, what was it, $50 or $60 you would have had to spend to buy this game when it came out? And trying to convince your friend to do the same thing, I think that would be a hard thing to accomplish.
It's easier to achieve with back then whenever your friend wanted fucking achievements, because I mean, basically that means you would have an extra set of achievements that you would have to. So normally, but at least you have two. If you were an achievement hunter back then, and then you also had a friend with achievement hunter, it was the easiest way to just kind of like do both games and then just do it that way. What was it though? Mainly because the only thing I could think of that honestly was worth it playing multiplayer back then was Dead Space 3, because whenever you play multiplayer, you actually get extra missions for multiplayer.
That's cool. I didn't know that, or I didn't remember it. I mean, I kind of wish I would have played this back in the day. I think I would have had a good time. But also, my friends weren't the ones to buy like cheap older games like I am. Even back then, I was like, I know I bought this game 3 times at this point, and I guarantee you, I spent less than probably $20 to $25 within that 3 times. So altogether, I've gotten this game cheap. This is like a $10 game back at GameStop when GameStop used to be a thing. I mean, it's still around, but it's not like that anymore.
I wish it wasn't around anymore. I fucking hate GameStop.
As I complained about earlier in this podcast, I was a little annoyed today. And I normally don't get annoyed with people for doing their job, and I was annoyed. And I was just weird that it bothered me.
I don't blame you, because it's also a thing too where I know that you say that, but when I worked GameStop, it's you were told you want more hours. Yeah, you were told you want more hours, you need to sell more pro, and it's like, cool, I love I love tricking people and forcing them to pay for warranties and things like that. And at the end of the day, as if you were the only one who got pro that week, you got more hours. That's really the only reason why I was able to survive, because I may have not gotten pro, but I at least sold a controller every Friday and was like, hey, is your kid a shithead? Buy the warranty. And they were like, okay. And it's like, cool, Joe sold the most warranty this week. And I'm like, cool, does that mean I get more hours? Yeah, awesome. Going home and getting high.
I mean, I didn't blame the employees. I get why they do it. I also feel like they must hate their job because they worked at the Mall America GameStop, and that can't be a fun job. Oh, sad thing, but I want to mention it. I was there, and they had the big Dark Souls 3 statue that apparently used to be at Game Informer.
Oh, shit.
Because I know Overblood complained about it when there's a picture of it online, and when they found out it wasn't at GameStop anymore, and it's sad.
You know?
Or not Game Informer. I mean, it's at GameStop now in the mall.
You know, GameStop is such a bad company, they can't even do the most ghoulish thing they could to get promotion off of this and set up like a route of pilgrimage sites where you can go to the various GameStops that they just shipped out all of Game Informer's shit to.
Yeah. People would do it but they want to forget that Game Informer even existed. So, I mean, to be fair, as a guy who creates content, I don't think they gained anything by just shutting down the website, because the website still exists. You're still paying something for that website. Why not use it? Why not use the stuff that's already been there and just leave it there and use it to redirect people to, to try to get more stuff sell more stuff. Like, you can still get advertisements. You already have content.
You can do the WB thing and just call it a tax write-off.
No.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was part of it, to be honest with you. The amount of people that got fired when I saw when people got laid off, it was a very small number of people were running that company at the end. So I doubt it cost that much.
Don't remind me.
All right, since we're on tangent, any last things to say about the music? I want to say the music and sound was pretty good in this game. I thought it was fine. I played this game with headphones the entire time. So
I wouldn't know it had Gravity Falls in the background the whole time I was playing this.
Oh.
Yeah, no, they do make pretty good use of the audio. Like, I do remember being, like, during the creeper moments when I wasn't annoyed that the game would keep me at lowest possible health and not kill me.
Yeah, those are stupid.
Before that happened, it did set a very good atmosphere.
Fair. All right. Let's go on to questions, comments.
I got one question.
Oh, please.
visuals. For me, the game just seemed a little blurry when I was playing it. And I was playing on backwards compatibility on the Xbox Series X, but it just seemed off, not sharp and clear. Was that just like the 2011's graphics and cell shading?
I think so. I don't remember
Anyone else have any issues it being blurry or something?
I was playing it on a launch Xbox One, also back compat, and I don't quite recall that. I think it must just be like the higher definition output of the newer system clashing with the low resolution of the original game.
What he said makes sense. I don't understand it. That makes sense. I played on PC. I didn't have any issues.
I also played on PC. I didn't have any issues.
Well, yeah, basically because it can't do anything to like scale up the resolution. It just stuff like motion blur or whatever is gonna have an outsized impact. But yeah, like I didn't have much of an issue with blurriness, or maybe I did and I immediately changed something in the settings and forgot about it.
No, that's fair.
And I turned up the brightness, turned down the brightness. It did not help.
I don't think I did anything. I don't think I had too many issues. I don't really remember either. So, yeah. Okay. Let's go. I got a few questions, not a lot. But first, from the I Watched Entire Orbit Super Replay from Adam Walker. I got more than halfway through 1, never touched 2, and only beat 3 because I did split screen with a buddy in high school. I do not think I would have finished it solo, but some of the ideas were neat and otherwise unremarkable game. From Matthew Paul Irwin, F.E.A.R. 2 was one of the best games I ever played on my 360. F.E.A.R. 3 was unfortunately one of the biggest disappointments. Still neat with the whole co-op angle, but everything else felt much more bland and not really scary at all. Yeah, that's completely true. Here's a good one from Matt Pickleton. I would give my Firstborn for a remake of the first one. Probably one of my top FPS ever.
That's fair.
I like this. From Brendan Smith, I prefer to pretend 3 doesn't exist. 2 was so good that another developer took over and ruined it. From Jordan Velez, I enjoyed F.E.A.R. 3, but it definitely was a step down from the first 2. The whole co-op mechanic was unique, and I do appreciate them trying something different for that. And from Resley Nicewater, playing the F.E.A.R. games with my dad was so much fun. I remember playing through 3 together multiple times. Initially, we couldn't figure out what the dead brother was even usable for, but once we figured out he could possess enemies, we had it down perfect. In my opinion, the F.E.A.R. series is a series that could really make a big comeback if it was to get some love on modern hardware, as long as it was handled correctly. I mean, I think it could. It's not going to happen, but I agree with that.
Yeah,
I
there's
think
like
this could come back.
Yeah, like there's enough in the story that with like a past to make it a little more cohesive and just like flesh out some of the weirder ideas, this series could be ripe for a reboot.
Could the next game update, remake, whatever, finally explain what First Encounter Assault Recon actually means?
Oh,
do they fight ghosts? Do they don't?
Joe, do you want to get sad?
What?
The studio Day One Studios, they were working on a Batman Gotham by Gaslight game. That's one of their canceled games that never happened.
I forgot that game also existed. Oh.
So, and they haven't made a single. The only game they have been working on since 2014 was World of Tanks. That's the only thing they have, which I'm assuming is still happening.
Probably, I don't fucking know.
It's an online game. I know a kid who played it before who liked it, so I'm assuming that just, microtransaction type game.
Honestly, we're in the year of remakes. I'm surprised no one's thought to come out with a fucking remake of F.E.A.R. because I'm so glad that I'm on the Games of Mompound Spooktober podcast because I'll be so busy because not only does fucking Lollipop Chainsaw and Shadows of the Damned and the Lollipop Chainsaw, Shadows of the Damned, the Silent Hill 2 remake, and the Dead Rising remake also comes out.
And you're on for a bunch of episodes too coming up here.
Yeah, but surprisingly, all the games are short. Like, I want to say I'm already like halfway through the next game.
Oh, good. Well, the next one you're on is not short, but
which one's that one?
Persona 4.
Oh, I've played Persona 4 like 3 times. I probably won't even play it.
Oh, you don't need to. It's fine.
Yeah.
I'm playing it, but I love it. So, all right. And then from Jerry Floyd, definitely a letdown after the incredible F.E.A.R. 2. I'd be pretty hyped for a reboot. I would be too. And from the official Laser Time community, I got a couple. From Blair McDonald, was this the game that kicked off the numbers inside the title trend? It was not. That was Driver 3 in 2004. I really don't like that trend.
I think it's funny.
To me. I mean, it's funny, but I just don't like it. I want to. How many games have done it? I'm curious, but I don't. Yeah, internet didn't tell me very well when I tried to Google that. So yeah, the AI did tell me something, but nothing I was looking for. And from Ricardo Perry, the reason it was so different is another studio made it while Monolith was busy working on Gotham City Imposters. From Dave Taylor, 3 had its moments, like that level where you were in a Costco-like store surrounded by those disturbed people, but it was never as cool as the first 2. The first one could definitely use a remaster, but I would replay it regardless. From Justin Farrington, I didn't finish 3. 1 and 2 were wonderful, though. I'd love a remaster of the first one, or even a better 4th one that nailed the feel of it, which we will never see. But yes. Right, and before we go on to Shelf Stacker Box, I want to give away a Steam code. So you will get a code for Ultra Street Fighter 4. The Steam code is 2YD44G4JVDFWZMG. That is the Steam code for Ultra Street Fighter 4. You're welcome, whoever grabs that. So, all right, let's go to Shelf Stacker Box. And Joe, why don't you walk us in?
I think really hard time deciding on it, but if we go by the rules that I always go through Mr. Albertin's podcast, I'd probably say just stack it. As much as I think it is kind of a bad game, I think if you can get the multiplayer going, you have a decent way to wrap up the series, and then just go, oh well, that's how we wrap it up. Now to never touch this ever again.
That's how I feel too. I'll go next. I'm going to put this in the stack also. I'm glad I played it. I'm glad I get to wrap up the series. I don't need to play it again, but I didn't hate it. It's nice and short, and it had some fun. I had 5 hours worth of fun. I'm okay with that. Probably bought this for $3. Fine, the last time. So, yeah. And M.
I'd probably also stack it because, like, in my opinion, there's a whole 2-hour YouTube video essay that you could just make on all of the ways that this game fails. Like, it doesn't have, like, glaring technical issues or anything like that. There's just a lot of decisions that run at cross purposes to each other that I think would be valuable to just be able to reference and look at over and over again to better understand how games go together. So right. I'd stack it just as like a morbid curiosity.
That's fair. And Ron?
It's probably going to go in my stack. This game, you spent half the podcast talking about all these other games. They really went from being trend centers to trend chasers. And I only think I'll probably play this game once in the next 5 or 10 years. I'll probably play the first 2 again a lot more than the third one and only try it just to be like, oh yeah, that's what this game is like.
Hey, but at least you guys got to experience the series. You know, just kind of like, I'm happy that we did that. I'm happy that you guys randomly answered the call 2 years ago and ended up getting to play all 3 with me.
Yeah. Like, I wasn't excited for this entry going into it, but yeah, honestly,
it wasn't either.
I'm glad I played it. I'm glad I was able to see the whole trajectory of this mess.
That's a fair way to put it, unfortunately, but yeah. I mean, it's a game. It's fine. I'm happy that I finally played it after buying it 3 times, so that makes me happy. That's the whole reason why I was on this show. So I'm like, I just need to play these games. I bought them on PC, PS3, 360. I need to just play them. I was a sucker for cheap GameStop games back when that was a thing, and the buy 2 get 1 free sales. Oh, I was a sucker. Yeah. All right. I should introduce what we're talking about next week. Next week, you can hear us talk about Cold Fear. Oh, that's the next name around, Joe. I forgot.
Yeah, I'm there too.
It's a PS2 survival horror game that looks like an RE4 clone, but really isn't.
It's what RE4 should have played like.
So, yeah. I think it came out before. So that's what you can hear about next week. A game that probably most people don't even know exists.
No.
So one of those games always been on my list to get around to. So you get to hear about that next week. And if you enjoyed this show, there's over 650 other episodes of this podcast. You can find everything we do on Podbean. If you want to support the show, we do have a Patreon. For those that are voting our Patreon poll, you will see a link in the show notes. To that, we have 1 to 2 polls a month. Speaking of that, I need to put that one up today. And we have a Discord. Please join our Discord. If you want to be on the show, that's the best way to do it. I always post things on the Discord so you can join the show and chat with us. So please do that. And I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro and outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Haster. You can follow her on TikTok and Instagram. Definitely go support her. And check out A Gamer Looks at 40 with Bill Tucker. He's currently talking about Final Fantasy forever. So the rest of this year. So definitely go do that. And please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, YouTube, audio only. We can find all those different things. I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.